Talk about millionaire mindset and skill set, which is super important. So buckle your seatbelts, you guys. I'm going to basically tell you how I became a self-made millionaire by 30, the mindset, the skill set around it, because this is the truth, is it's time. It's time for women and men to claim their birthright of prosperity, get their mind right, and be in alignment with the highest good. And the people that are doing do-gooders, I want you to know the truth, and I want to help you claim your birthright of prosperity, be able to have passive income, and be able to love and do what you love doing, okay? So let's begin by knowing the truth. Taking a deep breath into the nose, pulling the spine completely up, allowing the energy to go out the top of your head and all the way down into the center of the earth. You are the infinite and the finite, the omega, the infinite, the eternal, all the above. Take another deep breath into the nose and exhaling out the mouth. And I recognize it is your birthright of prosperity. Your birthright is emancipation from suffering. Your birthright is to have the greatest experience you could ever imagine. We want your soul. We want all of you. We want your abundance, prosperity, innovations, inventions, your art, your laughter, your joy, your darkness, all of it. I simply know this in my mind, my heart. It is known that in our mind, everything is possible. All innovation, all prosperity begins in mind. And I know also that the skill set to know how to leverage, to buy assets, to have the greatest return on investment, which is you, which is your consciousness. And in this, I know abundance for me, for you, for our community, and for the globe, especially for all the people bringing truth and spirituality and doing for the highest good. I simply know this. This is my mission. This is my life. I hand it over now to truth, to prevailing, as together we say, and so it is. Okay, you guys, let's do this. So if you are on Instagram, you can see just here, but on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Roku, all the above, are on Apple TV, all the above, you guys. I recognize right here, right now, that it is our truth. It's our birthright to have prosperity. So I'm actually doing a presentation over there. So if you want to actually see the presentation, you can go over there and check it out. Otherwise, you're all good on Instagram. But I want to say thank you to Connect TV, who has us out globally all over the world. Thank you for all the people that make this possible, all the people in society, and all the great minds that have come before. So I want to begin with my personal story. So I grew up, there's a book. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay, Dr. Kiyosaki, big shout out to you. You changed my life when I read your book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, at the age of 20 years old. Well, my life was very much similar, but it was rich dad, poor mom, okay? No joke. Rich dad, poor mom, meaning that my dad's side of the family was very, very wealthy. And when I went to my dad's side of the family, there was a lot of wealth. There was beach homes. There was came from this huge, long lineage of a lot of money. My mom's side of the family was very much indigenous. There was not a lot of money. Luckily, her dad had kind of figured out some stuff. But when growing up with my mom, we had no money. We went to the thrift store for our clothes. It was a very, very special thing. Even if we had ice cream in the house, we never went shopping. We never did it. We didn't have money. And I remember very specifically my mom saying, well, we can't do that because we don't have money to do that. And I love my mom, and she's amazing, and she's learned prosperity since, and she now is retired and does very well. But the point is, I grew up with a rich dad, poor mom, okay? So how did I master and become a self-made millionaire by the time I was 30? I became independently wealthy, meaning my passive income paid for my bills. And it's my mission, you guys, to help spiritual leaders. As you know, as a doctor of divinity, as a minister, it is my mission to help people who are bringing truth to the world. And I'm tired of people who have such a great heart that don't know how to actually have the impact in the world, because money means energy of exchange. And we have to know right now, right here, even in this pandemic, the definition of wealth is basically, each individual has their own definition. But if you take a look at the traditional definition of wealth, wealth means how many days, how much time can you survive without working, right? So we want to recognize that we want to always be in flow in the currency of money. And we want to also have money work for us and be able to have that survival. So when or if some things happen, and it will happen over and over again. If you look at the history, every decade, every 10 years, there's a financial crisis, okay? So you can't be ignorant. You can't be naive. It's time to wake up in the spiritual realm, in your financial realm, in your relationship realm, and so on and so forth, okay? So let's do this thing, okay? So we're going to talk about three things today, primarily in the realm of money, which is really all the basics that you need. Number one is assets versus liability. Number two is compounding and leverage. And the third is return on investment, which is ROI, and COI, the cost of inaction. Okay, so let's do this. So assets versus liabilities. So I'm sure many of you guys know what assets and liabilities, and a lot of you don't know what assets or liabilities are. Approximately about 90% of people don't really truly understand what an asset versus a liability is, okay? So an asset is anything that goes up in value, and a liability is something that goes down in value, and that's not completely black or white. So let's break this on down. So if you buy a house, you would think a house goes up in value. It could be the case, but the cost of that home, as far as all the maintenance and everything, could potentially not go up in value some years and other years. But over the long term, that home would be an asset, right? A liability would be like a car where, when you buy the car, you drive off the lot and you immediately lose, thousands of dollars. And if you sell it in 5 years, it's definitely not going to go up in value unless it's like some, antique car that's worth something, right? So we have to understand what an asset and a liability is. Obviously, the worst liabilities you could have is a credit card, right? Because a credit card is like not only are you, buying something that might be a liability, but then you're financing the liability. That's like the worst of the worst of liabilities, right? However, a liability like a credit card that goes into something that you invest in, say into a program that is for your consciousness, that's going to help you understand money, that may not be, it technically on the books, it would be considered a liability, but it's also a decent return on your investment in a liability, if you will, okay? So we want to understand what is an asset and liability, and how you can know what your worth is, if you will, financially, is you can take all your assets and all your liabilities, take your assets and then minus out the liabilities, and that's what you're considered to have your net worth. Hi, my loves from India. So many great people on here. I want to give a big shout out to all my friends and people around the world. There's people in here from India, from UK, from, of course, Los Angeles, New York, all over. I have so much global family. I love you guys so much. You guys inspire me. I just want to give a big shout out. Okay, so back to assets and liabilities. So me personally, so what did I do? So when I was I had, as you guys know, I had a stillbirth at 22. And I actually, before that even happened, I began to get very obsessed with self-development. I didn't know how I was going to, become successful. I didn't know the way, and we teach that. We don't teach outlining. We don't teach how. We just take inspired in action. And one of the inspired action was I was craving education. I craved things. So I read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And what happened was it said in there, basically it said, buy your assets, and when your assets begin to put off income, then with that income, then you buy the liabilities, right? So you don't buy a fancy car until you have enough money coming off of the asset to buy the liability, okay? So I'm going to tell you what I did right and what I did wrong. What I did right is I did exactly what he said. I bought and I literally saved $1 million. But in the process, I waited tables at night sometimes. I did real estate during the day to buy and fix up homes. I was doing my spiritual work along with it, and I began to build up my assets. And my assets, I ended up owning rental property. I ended up doing hard money loans. I ended up buying and fixing up homes. And I saved $1 million, literally, a cash. If I cashed it all out, I would have had over $1 million, okay? So, but what I did wrong, in my opinion, is I never learned the concept of having cash flow, meaning that I didn't enjoy those years of saving. I never went out for a Starbucks coffee. I would only eat out like once or twice a month. I literally saved everything I could, okay? And I believe we don't have to do both. So I believe in finding the balance in both of them, okay? So over time, what happened is I ended up having so much money. I had like over $40,000 a month just in passive income. And my bills were like $5,000 a month, right? So I was way what we call financially independent, meaning my bills paid for my expenses, and I was worth well over $1 million, right? So yes, it was great. Woohoo, we're here, right? The issue was two things. One, I hadn't found my true, like I had done spiritual work and I was doing that work, but I hadn't handed it over to that. So even though I was becoming more and more wealthy, my life was splitting between what I really loved to do and what I needed to do financially. And there was a break in there. It was like I was living a divided life, okay? So I had to learn how to hand it over and recognize that I can do what I really want, doing what I want, right? But before we get to that, I want to talk about the second distinction. The second distinction is compounding and leverage. So how I began to have those assets grow into more than $1 million was by compounding and leverage. So there's a concept that would you rather have, like, I think it's something like $1,000 that never compounds, or would you rather have a penny that compounds? And the point is that if you take a look over 10 years, the penny becomes worth a lot more money, okay? In fact, compounding is profound when you take a look at it. And as a spiritual teacher, we teach the exact same thing. Whatever we focus on in life and through universal law, whatever it is, it compounds exponentially, okay? The same thing is true in money, and money and spirituality is one and the same because it's all doing the same thing. It's what we create, it's what we focus on, it's what we invest in. Our thinking, our time, our efforts, everything multiplies abundantly and reflects back to us. The same thing with money. As we give value to the world, we have to get value back. As we invest in things, it has to bring back value, right? So compounding and leverage. What is compounding and what is leverage? Compounding means that it compounds, right? So if something has an interest rate, a return rate on investment, say 4%, 10%, sometimes I was making 100% on my money doing flipping homes and stuff, right? So the compounding, the return on your investment is how much you compound, right? So say you put $10,000 into a down payment on a home. Back in the day, we used to be able to do that. Okay, let's just pretend you put $10,000 as a down payment, or let's just say $100,000 in today's world, right? You put $100,000 down or $10,000 down, and you fix up that home, or that home goes up in value by $10,000. Guess what? Your return on investment and your compounding interest would be 100%, because your 10% that you put in and the 10% that it made, 10,000 that made, would be 100% on your return on your investment, right? And then say year two, it maybe does as much. It goes up, only $5,000 or whatever it is. So now over 2 years, that $10,000 has multiplied and made 15,000 plus your 10,000, which would be 25,000. So what's the return on investment on that? You do the math. Very simple, right? So this is that's great. Thank you for saying that. Anyway, so compounding is super important for you to understand. And leverage, the second part of it, is understanding that I can never make that extra $10,000 if I hadn't leveraged to the bank. If I hadn't bought and gotten a loan for that home, there's no way that I can make that $10,000 and make it into $20,000 unless I leverage. And I leverage to the bank, right? So we have to understand these are basic 101. But bottom line is this, is as Dr. Kiyosaki says, is rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities that they think are assets, okay? So what the wealthy do, or what you want to do if you really want to get ahead, is you want to buy an asset that pays for your lifestyle, that pays for your rent, that pays for your mortgage, that pays for your Starbucks, that pays for those vacations. The biggest mistake I see that my friends personally do in the coaching industry and so on and so forth is they get this huge overhead. They're making tons of money, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, blah, 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 and they spend a lot of money, but they don't ever actually have that money go into an asset that puts off money passively for them, okay? So you can have a choice. It's not as one better or one worse. It's just simply a choice. Do you want to be able to have freedom in your finances? Do you want to have money work for you instead of you working for money? And this is part of a spiritual aspect. I really, truly desire for my spiritual friends, my spiritual clients, my spiritual peers to prosper and know that they can take a break sometimes, that there's going to be years, maybe something happens to you where health-wise you need a break, or there's a crisis, a financial crisis, and you can't make money that year or something, right? So we need to always think and have, like, say, 6 months in the bank. And again, I'm not a financial planner. I'm a doctorate divinity. I help empower spiritual leaders. I help empower people that are bringing their spiritual businesses to the online world. I help develop world-class spiritual teachers, okay? So this is the biggest thing that I would say is you've got to take a look at what we call ROI and COI, which is return on investment and cost of inaction, okay? So I think that the biggest mistake I made in becoming a self-made millionaire is that I didn't understand. I saved and saved and saved. I didn't enjoy the process that much because it was just like it was like a grind. It was out of scarcity to even save $1 million, right? What I didn't understand is the cash flow aspect, is creating a business that has cash flow along with it, so I could have cash flow, enjoy my life, and take a percentage of it, say 10 to 30%, and invest all that and keep investing it and not touch that principal and let it compound, okay? So my suggestion for myself, my invitation for you out there is to do both, is to learn how to invest, to take a percentage of your income, but to also invest in creating a cash flow business, okay? And right now in this history is the best time ever to create cash flow because we have this great thing called the World Wide Web, and we have clients all over, so we can do our passions, we can do what we truly want from our heart, we can create cash flow, we can bring value to so many people, and we can invest at the same time, okay? So it's super important to understand the millionaire mindset, and the skill set comes down to multiple things. We have to understand and get in the mindset that what we truly love to do is possible to make money doing what we love to do. We also have to understand the mindset of understanding the skill set that we want to master cash flow, like cash cow, as they say in the financial world, and we want to understand investing. And so it's important for you to understand what you're comfortable with, get educated in that, and I'm going to help you kind of make that transition. Again, I'm not a financial planner. I am a doctor of divinity, but I teach entrepreneurship and I teach empowerment, and money is God as well, okay? So ROI and COI is this. It's ROI stands for return on investment. So that means, what are you getting out of the investment you're putting in? Obviously, if you put it into, say, real estate, you're going to be able to calculate that really clearly, right? If you're able to put it into stocks or into cryptocurrency, which a bunch of people are doing it, you don't really know exactly because it's a long-term thing. So right now you can calculate what your return on investment is. But there's another part to return on investment, and it is in your education. It is in understanding that there's things that we might want to invest in that may not show the return on investment maybe the first 6 months, or it will this first 6 months, but it's going to exponentially, okay? That's why I personally have invested $250,000, I kid you not, into my own investment. Between coaches, between getting all my licensing, between becoming a spiritual practitioner, a minister, a doctor of divinity, getting trained in everything, I've spent $250,000 over the course of my life, which is a long time of in the industry. For 25 years, I'm getting self-development, okay? So the return on investment, that investment has made me more money than all of my investments in real estate, in hard money, in companies, by a long shot, okay? Because it has given me my life. It has given me the ability to create cash flow online. And so you have to think about, what is your return on investment? So it's really a personal thing. I would not look to the next person of how they're investing. I would get with yourself and say, what is important to you to invest in? And that is always the right answer, okay? So next I want to get on to the law, universal law of today. The universal law, as we teach every day, a universal law, is the law of compensation, okay? Duh. So the law of compensation, there's only one universal law, and it's the law of cause and effect, okay? It's recognizing that everything comes from consciousness, everything comes from spirit, and everything is the out picture of that. And there's laws, there's physics to this universe. One is, compounding. One is that there's only abundance. One is that there's pure potential, and so on and so forth. But today, we want to talk about the law of compensation. The law of compensation states that life is an energy exchange, okay? Each person is compensated in a like manner to how they contribute. There is an identical correlation in the amount of value you give to the value that you receive. There is also an equal and atonement to the expense of your action, okay? This is a natural amending mechanism, is the process of redemption, bringing balance and order. So this is a very, very important point to investing into the millionaire mindset, because I'm not talking about the millionaire mindset of somebody who's corrupt that goes and takes money and says, I'm a millionaire. No, the new millionaire and the millionaire that's going to prevail is the millionaire that works for the highest good, that is helping and not hurting the planet, that is bringing consciousness, products, communities, and services that are working in accordance with the highest good. Okay, so this is the deal. You're going to watch over your lifetime the ethics of the corporations that go down in flames, the billionaires that end up committing suicide because they did not do right by their money, okay? I'm a firm believer, and I recognize there are ethics to what we invest in. There are ethics to what we do, and watch again. As somebody awakens, as they become in their power, they will oftentimes lose everything to their name. And the reason why is because when you get in the right vibration, whatever you did that was not in that vibration will go away, including your investments, including whatever, okay? The truth is that do not be afraid if things go away, because that means you may be up leveling and you're ready to claim your prosperity at a level that's never been done before with total integrity, with the highest good in mind. That's right. So know that there is a law of compensation, and don't worry about it, girls and boys out there, where you've been serving, you've been giving value, you've been doing whatever. Your time is coming, and it's called now, okay? You start claiming your birthright of prosperity, and I am done. I have some girls that are so incredibly talented. You know who you are right now. You're watching, okay? You know who you are. You are so freaking valuable. You have so much to give to the world. It is time for you to claim your birthright of prosperity, and it is done, okay? Some people had a lot of money and it will go away instantly as fast as it came because it is not in alignment with what is for the highest good, okay? Claiming your birthright of prosperity, the millionaire mindset is a destiny. You get in that mindset, you get your mind right, you get your heart right, you live in alignment with what you truly believe. You let money, you use money, don't let money use you. You use your time investing it in people, places, and things that will return on your investment. Invest in programs that are going to expand your consciousness. Invest in the programs that are going to develop your skill set. Invest in things, assets, not liabilities. Get smart. It's time, especially the women. I'm done. I know as a single mom, and I know so many of my friends, we had to overcome. We did not have mentors. We did not have the people out there to look to. We had to figure out on our own. And I know this. This is our birthright. Our prosperity is our birthright. It is time, ladies. It is time, gentlemen, to do good with the dollar, to give back to whatever that is. Affluence. I know this, okay? So Q&A, you guys. So if you are over on these other things, you'll see there's a little Q&A tab up here. You can also text and call in to the number there as well. And so the number again, you can call or text in with any questions every day, which is 323-538-ERIN, which is 3746. That's 323-538-ERIN, which is 3746. Okay, so today the question is, it says, I've managed to save $10,000. What do you think I should invest in? Okay, so again, I'm not a financial advisor. I would never tell you what to invest in. You need to get with your financial advisor. You need to make that own decision for you. But me personally, if I had $10,000, this is what I personally would do at this point in my life, okay? When I was 20, I would have saved every single dollar and grown very, very slowly. What I would do today is, first of all, you need to have some money in the bank in case there's something that happens, okay? So generally you need even more than $10,000 in your bank to save it, well, during times. But what I would do is I would maybe save 10 to 30% of that, and I would invest in a program. Literally, I'm not just saying this because obviously I have a leadership program that you can learn all this. And yes, I say join it for sure. But I would say I would take, $5,000 to $7,000 of that. I would invest it in something that's going to teach you how to get cash flow in a company, in your business, in your coaching company, or whatever that is, so that you can take that cash flow and then you can take 10 to 30 or 50% of it and begin to invest it into assets and versus versus liabilities. That 10%, if you just invest it into the asset, it's fine. It's going to have to sit there. You're going to do whatever with it, but it's going to be a very slow go. Versus if you can create and use that 5 or 7,000 out of the 10,000, then you're going to be able to understand, to learn how to create your business online, be able to create cash flow, be able to understand how to get clients, be able to understand how to do sales, be able to understand all these things. You can create the cash flow and then take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% of your cash flow and put it into assets, buy whatever that is, whether you are interested in real estate, stocks, crypto, another company, whatever that is. Okay, that's what I recommend. The next question is, let's see, would you invest in the stock market or cryptocurrency? That's a great question. I cannot give advice again on that. However, for me personally, I would not. I actually did invest in the stock market years ago one time, and I think it was like, what was it, 99? It was right before the next like crash or something. Like, I did terrible. But the point is this, is I'm a believer that you should invest in what you understand. So if I were you, I would either get a financial advisor, somebody who is going to invest that money for you, or if you want to learn an industry, then take the time and really invest in that industry and understand it. I personally know real estate. My son does real estate. He actually has a real estate company. So I, invest. I have a 350, I'm invested in a 350 door unit being done over in Arizona, and I invest in some green tech, which has been a roller coaster, let me tell you. But the point is this, is that I do not know cryptocurrency, and I would never invest in that because I don't know it, and I don't feel confident in it. Secondly, would I invest in stock market? No, I personally would not. If I were going to, actually I do through the family foundation, but I would only do it through professionals that know, and I would be in it for the long term. I would never look at it like I'm going to buy in and buy out. Only long term. In real estate and in all of it. The one thing I wish I had done that I hadn't done was I wish I had bought and hold. I bought and fixed and flipped and did all that, which is basically buying a job. If I had to do it again, I would buy and hold, buy and hold. I would create a company that has cash flow, and I would invest in real estate and in things I know, and I would buy and hold long term. Okay. And then last question here. Last question is what? Last question is, I know that I have blocks within my subconscious mind because my entire family hasn't ever had money. How can I break through my thinking? Well, of course, duh. I mean, we all have blocks. Like our family, my mom did not have money. She has money now. We literally went to the thrift store growing up. We did not have any money. There was no concept of what is business, what is an asset, what is a liability. I never heard that conversation one time, not even in my dad's side of the family that had a lot of money. So it's called getting educated for sure. So you want to do mindset and skill set. Okay, so in the mindset, we want to first deal with the blocks at the subconscious level. We recognize that 98% of our lives are being run by the subconscious mind. So you want to deal with that. In Soul Society, we do what's called the E4 trauma method, release the limited beliefs, and we get into the mindset. You want to get into the mindset of what it means in all this area of breaking through the limitations, which always comes down to usually self-worth. It comes down also to getting in alignment with what you truly love. Over and over when I'm doing breakthroughs with coaches, CEOs, top celebrities, the biggest thing is actually there's a gap between being authentic in what they're doing versus not. And when you're truly authentic and you're truly living your truth and you're doing what you love to do, you will never ever get stopped in your business. You will keep going because there's a why behind it. There's a legacy behind it. There's all that, okay? The second thing is your skill set. You need to understand and break through the thinking of what it means to not buy liabilities and start buying assets. You need to learn the skill set around understanding compounding interest, return on investment, cost of inaction. And cost of inaction is one of the greatest things you need to learn as an investor in learning and getting developed. The biggest mistake I see people making out there is they're not paying for the coach that's going to get them a 10-time exponential in getting their company online. Because guess what? In 10 years, it's already loud. Imagine how expensive ads are going to be online. Imagine how hard it's going to be to get your platform out there. It is the time, the cost of an action right now to not invest in a program and not take the quantum leap online is a huge cost. It is a major, I would say that's the biggest mistake people are making. You've got to do it now. Now. The platforms are there. They're not going to be available. The ads are going to be expensive online. There's going to be 1,000 more people launching their companies online. You can't afford to not have somebody that's taking you a 10-time action on that, okay? So on that note, out. We're done, you guys. I rattled on forever. Let's do a quick prayer and we're going to peace out on this one. Knowing the truth, you guys. Let's take a deep breath in together. Taking a deep breath in and exhaling out. And I just recognize prosperity. I recognize abundance. I recognize the millionaire mindset that lives and breathes as you. You are worth more than all the gold on the planet. You have more innovation than all the innovation that's ever happened on this planet. You have inventions and arts and businesses and expression. And I recognize the perfect partnerships, the perfect team, the perfect wisdom, the perfect course, the perfect mentor, the perfect everything. I recognize it's all here on a platter for you through the universe. The universe wants to give it to you right now. It is simply you getting out of your way, getting out of your comfort zone and taking that quantum leap. The mindset that got you where you are, got you where you are. You've got to get out of that mindset. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. You've got to say, I'm going to do it anyway. Yes, I commit. And the universe brings it all in with that commitment. The universe just says yes. And if you say, I'm just going to stay here in scarcity, it's going to say, and so it is. If you say, I'm claiming my birthright of prosperity, it says, and it is done. And I simply know this in my mind, my heart, all of us together, we say, and so it is. It is our birthright for prosperity, you guys. If this is the first time coming on, I'm Dr. Erin. I'm a doctor of divinity, a new thought minister. I help and develop soul-based business owners through the leadership program. It is the very last day, you guys. Today is the last day to get into the leadership for $997. That's $997. It goes back to $5,000 tomorrow, okay? This is because of the crisis. It's because of the pandemic. I did this because I know truth is so important to get out to the world right now. I want you, if you've had a spiritual calling, please rise up. We need you. We need all of us to help bring truth to the world, you guys, okay? You can also get into our free community. If you do not have money, it's fine. We never turn away anyone. It's called Inner Circle. It is free. In there, you get me, you get lives on Tuesdays, you get content, you get my free book, you get 40 guided meditations. You also get the ambassadors. They do calls almost every day during the week for support groups to do breakthroughs, to give you, distinctions to help you with your mindset and your skill set, okay? You can go into my bio on across all social media. I'm Dr. Erin, DRERIN.TV. Thank you, Connect TV. If you're looking to stream out and you want to find somebody to help you do that, Connect TV is your source. We're going to be bringing on interviews through here and through Good Morning La Land shortly. So have a beautiful day and may you live your truth. Okay, you guys, amazing. We're all done.